I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. We're going to do a little bit of troubleshooting today. This reel was sent in by I think Jim. I'm not going to mention Jim's last name, but this reel was sent in by Jim. And Jim asked me, I've already done one of these reels, so we're not going to do full servicing on this. One's going to be more of a troubleshooting. And Jim sent this in because he's having difficulty with the anti-reverse on it. It came in yesterday. I got it in the mailbox, and it looks like it's got more issues than just that. Because the switch back here doesn't want to switch properly. And when you are in anti-reverse, sometimes it doesn't want to back up when you've got it disabled. And so we're going to see what's going on. He asked me if I could build him a new spring for this one. This has got that weird style rubberized anti-reverse that fails. And he had seen me do one, and I told him I would go ahead and make him a spring for that. And so what's what we're going to do? We're going to take this apart real quick and hear that. That is not the anti-reverse clicking. I'm not sure what that is. So that's not supposed to be doing that. So we're going to take a look and see. It appears, yeah, there's the noise. Let's see, and now it stopped doing it. There was a piece of spring hanging out the side. So there's a loose spring inside here already. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take the handle off and see if we can get started on this. Okay, there we go. And we're going to take off the side plate. It's going to be all right. With the screws removed, we should be able to remove the side plate, which we did easily. Okay, and of course, this is one of those lovely ones with C-clips holding the axle shaft in. And so we've got to see about rotating those around to get hold of it. Yeah, this one, we're going to take this apart, and I'm going to completely service it. I'm not going to do a video on how to service it, but we are going to do it. I am going to service the whole thing before I send it back to him. But yeah, there are C-clips on here, and we got to get those C-clips to rotate around so we can get them to pop off. See if we can get them turning. And let's go ahead. Yeah, let's rotate that down a little. There we go. Okay. Now, let's see if we can get those to rotate around. Okay, I think I got it broke loose. Loosen it up, rotate it around. There we go. And now you can see I think that clip is now kind of sticking up a little bit proud. I think it is. Actually, I think it come off altogether. I think it's in the bottom. Let's see if we can get that. Yep. There we go. Axle shaft is now out. We can take the main gear out at this point, I hope. There we go. Now we can take the crosswind block out. And where's that clip at? Okay, well, I happen to have some clips, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Would like to know where it went to. All right, next thing we're going to do is remove. Let's go ahead and zoom this back out. We're going to go ahead and remove the nut for the rotor. And we will finally get to see what it is that we're dealing with here. Okay, there, see the spring? That's what was scraping inside. Okay, and let's see if we can figure out where he goes and how he goes in there. Yeah, I believe that this piece right here has been removed and reinstalled incorrectly. I think this piece is supposed to be over on this other side. But here's the interesting part. The part that's supposed to be bad, this is the first one of these I've ever seen that was in good shape. Look at this. Well, it's almost in good shape. It's actually the shape it's supposed to be, but the rubber is turned to mush. But it is at least the shape that it's supposed to be. Let's get a really good look at that, because that's the first one I've ever even seen what the shape is supposed to look like. Every one I ever saw before was just a blob. That's the part that goes bad in these. And in just a second, I'll show you, if you look right here, it's mush. Okay, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and reset this anti-reverse lever back here that's not set correctly, and put this spring in correctly. Okay, we're going to take this screw out. And lift this off. And we're going to come back up here, slide this rod out, and rotate this around this way. So that's the way that's supposed to be. Okay? Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go that way and then this way, and that gives you your rotation of that. And that allows this spring to be in there. See, the spring hooks right here. Like that. And now we've got to get it to go in that hole right there. Okay, so the way to do that is we're going to bring this out. We're going to line up the spring in the hole. And then we're going to reposition this. And there we go, and push it down. Now, see how that's locked in there? Let's get a nice close-up look of that. Okay, that's the way that's supposed to look. And we'll go ahead and put this knob back on the back side. Like that. And put the screw back in, and that will hold the spring in place so the spring can't pop out. Okay, and then you've got, there you have positive contact. You got your anti-reverse and your anti-reverse override. Okay, and if you look up here at what it's doing, okay, it's keeping this lever from being able to rotate. There's anti-reverse on. Now this lever should be operating right here. This is what it was sent to me for, was to replace this gooey mess up here with a real spring. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this gooey mess out and put a new spring in. And yeah, that was supposed to be a rubberized piece. It was supposed to make this piece hold it up against there, and this was going to click by. As it clicked by, it would do that. But the rubber has turned to mush. Okay, so we're going to take that out. We're going to clean the mush out, and we're going to make a plastic collar to go on here to keep the, go right here in place of this. We're going to put a plastic collar in here, or a stack of washers to simulate that, and then we're going to have a spring in here that's going to cause this to hold up against here. Okay, it's going to wrap behind this, come back over and wrap around, and then come back to here and be on the positive side, or the aft side of this, and hold it up against there. And that will cause it to go click, 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 click when you wind it. All right, and time for a pause. I had to take a break for a few minutes. I go pick up my granddaughter from school and everything, and we are back now to working on this. And we're going to go ahead and take off the anti-reverse ratchet. At least I believe we're going to take it off. There we go. That's off. Got a lot of old grease in this thing. And let's see, what's holding that in? Oh, we got a horseshoe clip on the inside. There we go. Okay, now this should come out. Let's move this over out of the way. Take this out. And, all right. So this is the part that we've got to change. This rubber piece that has deteriorated into nothing. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can't remove that now. Look at the rubber. It just, there's nothing left. It just, somebody thought they had a good idea. And it just failed miserably. Okay. We want this to come up and off. There we go. Okay. There it is. See, it had that rubber piece fit down inside there. And I still don't really understand exactly how it was supposed to work, but there's nothing that it can do now at this point. If you look, it's just like it's just nothing to it. And there's a whole lot of these reels out there that have this part in them that have just miserably failed, and people just aren't fishing them. I did a video on how to fix it, and let's go ahead and wipe the rest of that off as best we can. And then I've got to get all these parts cleaned up. In my other video, I show you how to take the anti-reverse apart, and not anti-reverse, drag washers in the back apart and get that cleaned up. But I'm not going to do that on this video. This is just how to repair this particular problem and get it up and running again. So I'm going to clean all this up. When I come back, we're going to start putting it together. Well, you're going to be present, I think, when I make this part. I don't think we want to try... I don't want to do that off camera. I want you to be able to see what my process is for how I went about making the part for this. Jim said he didn't feel capable of making that, and that's why I told him go ahead and send it to me and I'll make it for you. But yeah, the rest of this now is working well. The spring's not laying down inside. I'm going to clean all this up. And when you guys when we come back, all this is going to be clean. And we're going to go ahead and make the spring to go on here. Put all this stuff back in real quick. And see if we can't get this up and running. I decided after I got done cleaning these parts to go ahead and do a trial run on making the spring for this, since it had been a while since I made the other one. And I kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and it just kept failing. And I couldn't understand why. So I finally went back and watched the other video, and it turns out this reel is different from my reel, even though they're both AS4050s or 4050s. So what the difference is, I'll show you. In this reel right here, see this shoulder right here? Let me get something that's a little better pointer than my big finger. See this shoulder right here? Well, this shoulder isn't on my reel. It drops all the way down here. And what that means is when this anti-reverse claw is in here, there's room underneath it for the spring to go. Well, in this one, there's not any room. Okay? And so because of that, it continues to push it up and causes the spring to be misaligned constantly. So I contacted Jim. I decided I would not modify Jim's reel without his permission. So I contacted him and he gave me permission. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this shoulder down here so that the spring has a way to fit in there, like so. Okay? So let's see what we can do with it. Okay, now I made 2 little cuts there, and I think what I'll do is see if I can't use my screwdriver and snap the center out. There we go. Now, when this claw sits in here, it has room underneath it for the spring to fit. All right? So if yours has that shoulder and you're trying to do this modification, it's probably not going to work very good unless you do that. All right? So I made a spring. As a matter of fact, I made several springs trying to get something that would work in there, and none of them wanted to work. So now that we've done that, I should be able to go back and we should be able to make a good quality spring. We're going to use this number 18.018 wire, and we're going to make us a new spring for this while you're watching, and it should not be a problem now that I know what the heck the problem was. So let's go ahead, get us a piece out of here, and we're going to start off by putting a loop in this wire, and I'm going to wrap it around a drill bit so that it's got something to size it with. All right, so I'm going to take and clamp this onto this screwdriver, or sorry, drill bit, and we're going to wrap it around. And I think it's going to work best if I go this route. And I probably ought to cut this piece loose from the main spool of wire because it's fighting me. There we go. So let's try this again. I want this to go on here. I want to clamp this wire onto here using my vice grips. Like so. And now what I want to do is bring this around the drill bit like that and pull it as tight as I can. Kind of get it to take the shape of the drill bit. There we go. And I think that's going to be sufficient for what we want. This now should fit on here like this. And when I bend this little shoulder down this time, now it should drop down and be able to go into here and not force everything up and off of here. Okay, so we're going to take and right here, I'm going to bend down a 90 or close to a 90, and then I'm going to bend it again at just about the same thickness of this wire, of this claw. And then we're going to bend it again like that, and that should make it so that it will sit over to the side and fit down in there. And when it's clamped in place, it should hold its position. And now the spring has room to move over, or the claw has room to move over top of the spring and not knock it out of its position. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, I made this spacer right here. This was a piece of plastic I had, and it was almost twice this thickness this way. And what I did is I put it on a piece of sandpaper and sanded it down until I got it to approximately the size that I would need to take the place of that rubber assembly that used to be under here. And now tighten down the spring. And let's see if we still, okay, we still are moving freely, but I'm not sure what's going to happen when I come around the rest of the way, because we've got to get onto that spring. So I might have to thin that spacer down a little bit more. And so we're going to want this. Now, this will be pretty easy to pop back into place to take some of the tension off. So let's go ahead and bring this over, and it should be that we can bend it down right here. All right, now I've got the bend there. Now I should be able to unscrew this back off of here. And I can feel when I loosen the screw, the spring popped loose. So we need to take a little more off of the spacer. Okay. And this was just some material that I had laying around that I made this out of. Okay. And what I've been doing to thin it down is laying a piece of sandpaper down and just sanding it down, trying to keep it even all the way around. And I've done a fairly good job of that, because if you come over here and measure it, it's pretty much even everywhere we measure it. Okay, up. We're back on inches. Let's go ahead and change this back to here and 0 it. Okay. And there we go. This started out at 3.18, and I've got it down to 2.16 now that I've sanded it down. It was at 2.45 a minute ago when I just tried it. Okay. Now we've got this bend on here. I'm going to go ahead and make that a full bend like that. And now we want to go ahead and bend this backwards again. To fit down around that spring. Let's hold it here and push here. All right. Now with that little hook on there, that hook is made to go inside of this claw right here. Okay, that's going to fit inside right there. Now that's too long a claw, but it is going to work. Okay, so we can go ahead and shorten that up, cut it off so that it's not so long. And I am missing my good diagonal cutters. I have no idea where they are. I've got this El Cheapo pair I bought off Amazon, and they can't cut hot butter. Matter of fact, I need to toss them in the trash can. All right, I found the pair I was looking for. And we're going to snip this off right about there. Now we've got a reliable hook on the side of that. And we should be able now, well, tell you what, well, we'll go ahead and finish making it, and then we'll reassemble it all. Okay? We should be able to take and put this hook on the claw, like this, and bring this around, keeping it on the top of the claw. And there we go. And then set the claw back in place like that. And with this piece installed, that should hold the spring in place. And then we should be able to bring this end of it over, and there we go. There is the anti-reverse. Now this one feels like it might be a little bit too strong, so we might want to adjust it down, but let's give it a try. see, it goes on this way. There we go. Okay, put it in place. And okay, but that's going to stay in place once that's there. All right, I'm not going to snip this off until after we've got everything reassembled. So let's go ahead, take this all back apart, and assemble this reel the way it should be, and we'll do the final detail on that spring, and see if we can't get this reel back to Jim. I hate to take it back apart, but we're going to have to. The rotor has to go on. All right, once we're at this point, we'll stop on this. We need to go ahead and finish this up here. We're going to go ahead and install the clicker, the anti-reverse cog. And now we got this assembly here. And we're going to hook this spring that we just made. We're going to hook that into that hole in the anti-reverse claw, and we're going to set that down on here like this. And now I made this spacer, and you can make it out of washers or whatever. I made it out of this piece of plastic tubing. I'm not real sure what it even came off of. And now with that on there, I'm going to come around over here, and we're going to get we are not quite where we need to be on this piece. There we go. Drop it down because it has to come over and around. And we have to get it past that. There you go. It has to drop down past the arm and then come forward. With that in there, we can go ahead and put this screw in, and then we can test it to see if I have the right thickness on that spacer. If I do, we rotate this, yep, it's going to move freely, and it does. Yep, just popped out, but that's okay. That's because it's not held on by the rotor yet. Okay, so with that held in place and that operating properly, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to clip, well, yeah, I'm going to clip some of this first, and then I'm going to bend it down. And then we're going to see about maybe clipping off some more of it. Now we're just going to bend it down. Okay, we're going to take this and fold it down like that. And that will keep that from being able to pop up and out of there. Yeah, there you go. And with it pointing down like that, you're not likely to snag a finger on it. All right, so now we have our anti-reverse override. That's this switch here that we fixed the spring on earlier. Okay, when it's in this position, this will just rotate and you have no anti-reverse. Okay, and I've got this all jacked up down here. Let's go ahead and bring this back around where it belongs. There we go. And we should be able to put the rotor back on. Set that in place and install the locking nut. Bring this back out. That's in. Everything there's good. There's your anti-reverse. Anti-reverse override. Put the side cover back on. All right, Jim, there you go. Your Daiwa AS4050. Yes, it's no longer a silent anti-reverse. It now makes all the noise in the world. But it does work. You have an anti-reverse. And it's a nice reel. It's ready to go back to fish. I will get it in the mail to you tomorrow. And for those of you watching along here for the second time I've done one of these, maybe yours is like this and it's built different than mine was. I don't know why they changed that casting somewhere along the way. I don't know. But hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like about it. And for now, that's Rick Stivers of the Young Martin's Reels signing out.